test. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
As she mentioned, I'm the district manager for the Gulf Atlantic District, and it gives the Postal Service great pride to be able to unveil this celebrity chef stamp. As the district manager, it's a ceremony that's particularly a special treat for me because I have a personal affection, as you can clearly see, not only for food, but for unveiling these stamps today. Normally, as a day job, I oversee day-to-day operations of a large area of the United States Postal Service, including the great city of Savannah. Woo! Yeah. Go Savannah. Also, in my spare time, I enjoy spending time in the kitchen and cooking, as well, of course, of good food. Cooking is truly an art, and in many ways, it's a chemistry. No matter what the matter at hand is, if a person loves doing what they are doing, especially when in the kitchen, it shows. Not only while they're providing special dishes for others, but in the performance of their concoction of a personal effort to mix love of their work into what the final outcome will be. In this case, we're referring to the magnificent impact of the celebrity chefs we are here to talk about today. So it's truly a thrill for me to be here at the Savannah Food and Wine Festival in the company of so many great chefs and people who savor the joys of cooking and eating great dishes as much as I do. As every stamp collector knows, these are miniature ambassadors that travel through the world. They tell stories of heroism, daring exploration, historic milestones, and extraordinary achievements that make a great nation of ours. They also tell stories about a person's life. And today, we're here to celebrate the lives of 5 celebrity chefs who revolutionized our understanding of food, and to honor one in particular, the grand dame of Southern cooking, the legendary Edna Lewis. Some of the other famous chefs, James Beard, Joyce Chen, Julia Child, Felipe Rojas Lombardi, and Edna Lewis, all saw cooking as a source of delight. They invited us to feast on regional and international flavors and were early but ardent champions of the trends that many of us who refer to ourselves as foodies now take for granted. As they shared their know-how, they encouraged us to undertake our own culinary adventures, and American kitchens have never been the same since. And that's why this week at the Savannah Food and Wine Festival, we've been able to enjoy unique flavors once you get through the crowds, and dishes, and thanks to them they have become American staples. For example, Joyce Chen. We have her to thank for opening people's eyes to what good Chinese food could taste like and popularizing it in the United States. In fact, she opened her first restaurant in Cambridge, Massachusetts in 1958 at a time when even soy sauce was figured as exotic food in America. She introduced many patrons to many dishes such as mushu pork, hot and sour soup, beef and broccoli, and even Peking duck. Then there's James Beard, the pioneering teacher and author who inspired generations of amateur cooks and professional chefs alike. A strong advocate for local ingredients in the markets. He incorporated the ingredients into his iconic recipes, such as macaroni salad and egg and onion sandwiches. They've become staples in today's picnics. The quintessential American cook. Beard popularized cooking and made the people feel comfortable as they ate it and while they were at the stove. And where would we be without the Caribbean and South American cuisine, without Felipe Rojas Lombardi, renowned for his creativity and in culinary adventurous. Lombardi encouraged people to experiment and take chances with dishes like tortilla de papas, and shrimp ceviche. And no one had more fun in the kitchen than Julia Child, who was a public face of American cooking for more than 40 years. I personally have had great memories of my own mom watching TV intensely and trying to write notes quickly as Julia was dashing on the wine and telling stories of all of her secrets in the kitchen. Her sense of humor while cooking is what I'm quite sure made my own mother realize that cooking can be fun as well as challenging. Thanks to Julia, we now know we can make supposedly difficult dishes like beef bourguignon right in our own kitchens. And last, but certainly not least, the reason why we're here today, in addition to those mentioned, is Edna Lewis, a soft-spoken but insistent champion of using absolutely fresh ingredients. From lard, she rendered herself to buttermilk made from the milk of one of her favorite cows, by introducing simple menus that included dishes like fried chicken, biscuits, peach cobbler, to all the fine restaurants. This grand dame of Southern cooking convinced Americans to take a second look at Southern food. The stamps depict the 5 celebrity chefs in a style that resembles oil paintings, and the design on the edge of each one of the stamps is of a tablecloth. They're now available, and these images of these 5 celebrity chefs will be carried on letters and packages to millions of households and businesses throughout America. And keep in mind, they're forever stamps and they will always be good, even if the price of postage changes. So please use them and let the remarkable careers of these celebrity chefs serve as an inspiration to all of us. Remember, as you send your cards and even your letters through the mail with any of these stamps, they are processing through the mail and relaying great memories of 5 celebrity chefs. Most of all, though, let them be reminders of something that James Beard, Joyce Chen, Julia Child, Edna Lewis, and Fehribach always knew, which is the art of cooking, and an art that is best shared with others. So now I would like to invite our guest on stage to join me in unveiling the lasting tribute to Edna Lewis, who has shared with us the delight and excitement of good food that can bring, and introduce Miss Ruth, who is Edna Lewis's sister, to help me unveil the stamp.
So be a photo op. The shade is horrible. You want to move it a little bit, Lucius?
You want it in the sun?
That Savannah sun is tough. You have to work with it. It'll keep you warm, but it can mess up a picture. Back a little bit further.
Jimmy, do that for you? Jimmy?
You want a picture? I got the same. Sue. One more? Okay, thank you so much for that. Next, we'd like to introduce Chef Joe Randall. As a local of Savannah, everybody knows Chef Randall. But for those of you who don't, let me just give you a little history. He's a 50-year veteran of the hospitality and food service industry. The depth and range of his experience and his dedication to professional excellence have earned him the respect of professional chefs, as well as a wide range of restaurant managers and owners. He is noted for his capacity to teach, guide, and advise others in the practical aspects of food quality and profitable food service operations. Randall has worked his way up through the ranks from Air Force flight line kitchens to executive chef post at many restaurants. Chef Randall's professionalism include the American Culinary Federation and the American Academy of Chefs. He is the founding board member of the Southern Food Alliance. Please welcome to the stage, Chef Randall.
Welcome everybody. I'm just very excited to be here to do a little bit to try and contribute to this wonderful legacy that this woman, Edna Lewis, left us of African Americans cooking in the kitchen. I'm the president of the Edna Lewis Foundation, and our goal is to continue her legacy. So we appreciate the U.S. Post Office honoring her with this wonderful stamp and acknowledging the contribution that she made to food in America. Thank you so much for coming out. We hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Okay, excuse me, it's a little tight back here, so we want to make sure we don't knock anybody off. Okay, Paul Fehribach. Paul is an executive chef and co-owner of Big Jones. Throughout his career, Paul has supported the farm-to-table and slow food movement. To quote his philosophy, "I do what I do because I want to see nutrition, sustainability, and humane treatment of farm animals become the standard by which we judge food, not cheap price, industrial consistency, or marketing dollars spent. We all eat better by treating the land and our animal friends better." Paul was a semifinalist for the James Beard Foundation's Best Chef Great Lakes Award in 2013 and 2014. Please welcome to the stage, Coach Paul. Yeah, Chef.
Thank you. I really have just a couple of, what? Oh, all right.
Move it a little bit.
Really, just a couple, for my story with how Edna Lewis inspired me, it really touches on a couple of major points. One is a very personal thing, and I was raised by my parents. I was lucky to have good parents who taught us that all people are created equal. And I spent a lot of time thinking about that because it's something that my parents told me was important. And when you look at Edna Lewis's legacy, when I read The Taste of Country Cooking, for instance, here's a book that was written in seasonal menus in the mid-1970s before Alice Waters was even pretending to do such a thing. An African-American woman who was able to accomplish what she did even before she wrote that book in the 1950s in New York City. But when I read the book, what struck me most importantly about race, and I think race is important, I think all you need to do is read the news nowadays to understand that it is still important and it still matters. But when I read The Taste of Country Cooking, I saw in the pages and in her stories my own family, which was a poor white family in southern Indiana that farmed. And when I would read the recipes, and not just the recipes, but the love with which she talked about food, I could see my own family. And to me, that was one of the most powerful things that's ever happened as a cook, because it transcended race, and I think that it also shows us our common humanity in a way that no other cookbook has ever shown me. And the other thing that The Taste of Country Cooking does that was similarly important was it shows food as a vehicle for feeding people directly from the land. And I became a chef, maybe because I come from a farming family and I feel a certain way about food, but I became a chef because I enjoy the act of feeding people. And I think it's a higher calling. So I live in Chicago now, and I have a restaurant, and it's famous for Chicago is famous for modernist cuisine. And you have these chefs, and they're great chefs. Some of them run better restaurants than I do. So you take a tomato, and then you puree it in a Vita Prep, and if you don't know what these things are, don't worry about it. You put it in a jelly bag, and you let the juice drip out of it, and then you mix it with this stuff called sodium alginate, and then you take an eyedropper and you drop it in a solution with something called calcium citrate, and it makes these little balls that resemble caviar, and it's a tomato. And that's interesting, and it might even taste good, but I don't know what that has to do with feeding people. But you know, the thing that was always most inspiring about Edna Lewis's writing is how it makes food in its most simple form. It elevates itself. There's no need to elevate anything. It's okay for a pot of peas to be a pot of peas, or to get beautiful, brilliant scallions when they first poke up in the spring, and cream them with the calf's milk, or the calf's cream, the cow's cream, when they're feasting on the luscious pasture of the year and making the most delicious cream they'll make all year. That to me is sufficiently gourmet, and that when you eat pristine farm produce directly from the land, that is not only is it feeding people, but it elevates food to what it should be, which is nourishment for our bodies and souls.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I'm just gonna tie into that, and I do not have my glasses, but I do just want to, on the pamphlets that you have on the back, there's a brief overview of the chefs as well as Edna Lewis, and something that started off in the description. The family lived on a farm that had been granted to her grandfather, and central to the family's life was food in all its phases: growing, foraging, harvesting, and cooking, without any modern cooking conveniences. Everything was cooked over wood, and lacking measuring spoons, baking powder was measured on a coin. Some interesting tidbits on here, so everybody's got a copy of that. Next, I would like to introduce Ruth Lewis, who doesn't need any introduction other than Edna Lewis's sister, and I'm not going to make you stand, so I'm going to bring this to you.
Justin,
I am so happy to be here with you all. You can't imagine the feeling of having a sister on the family. She was such a wonderful person to be with. And I want to thank the postal service for making that decision, because it was not even in a lifetime for as many of us as it is to have one black girl in Virginia. I am proud of her. I'm particularly proud of the I'm going to cook a big dinner one night and have it all. And don't you think I can do it? Does everybody have any questions you want to ask me?
Any questions? Open it to questions.
I'm already 90 and she already almost made it. Okay? I want you to know I'm not a baby anymore. I'm a young lady anymore. And I was used our chef also, wonderful promoting her legacy in the big cook.
Okay.
Okay? Appreciate all that you're doing. And you can save an apron for me.
Is it working again? Yes. Okay. That concludes our stamp unveiling. We do have aprons available for purchase, $10. They've got all the chefs on there. We also have some beautiful cachets, that are available. And we have
I would like to present each of our honored guests with the Edna Lewis stamp dedication for November 15, 2014 at the Savannah Food and Wine Festival, the Celebrity Chef stamps. And we'll also make sure you get an apron this week. We won't charge you.
another picture opportunity, please.